Hello, I'm Latoya Watson, and I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Hi, my name is Rah D, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
I identify as she, her, and queer.
I identify as she, her, they, and also queer. I have lived in Cincinnati for 14 years now.
So I have lived in Cincinnati. It's been broken up in chunks of time. So first I came to Cincinnati to go to the University of Cincinnati for 4 years until I graduated. Moved away, and I came back about 4 years ago, so another 4 years, so 8 years in total. So at the University of Cincinnati, I studied information technology with a minor in website development. Started in 2005, and I graduated in 2010, so about 5 years.
I came to Cincinnati in 2009. What brought me to Cincinnati? My wife brought me to Cincinnati. So my wife is also from Detroit. We met in Detroit. She hit on me and we started dating and conversing. She actually lived in Cincinnati, so we were, dating, and I would come back and forth to Cincinnati. And I was looking for a change, and I was like, hey, I can move here and be with you. So that's what happened.
So when I first moved to Cincinnati in 2005, I was freshly out of high school, and really still figuring out my identity. And so I remember Cincinnati being very queer, underground queer. I didn't feel comfortable in work settings, so at the University of Cincinnati, I was required to take a co-op for my um, understudies, and what that meant is I would work in a professional setting and work like at a corporate level and in a professional setting. And I remember not feeling comfortable to come out there and meeting a lot of other peers who are also undercover in their sexuality. So kind of two sides of that story is work-life balance in Cincinnati. I didn't feel comfortable, but there was this underground at night place in Northside actually that we would go all the time. And that's where we really could let our hair down and be who we wanted to be. So that was my first impression of Cincinnati.
Yeah, my first impression of Cincinnati. Of course, when I was visiting, um, my girlfriend at the time, which is my wife, it was cool. I was like, I could see myself living here. However, I would visit the bar, so I didn't fully know Cincinnati as a whole. And of course, I was in my younger 20s, so. But once I moved here, it was a culture shock for sure. Detroit is known for, most people know it for music, for it being a motor city. However, Detroit had quite a few gay bars, and it catered to the black queer community. And once I moved here, I got a little taste of it, and then it seemed like it just kind of faded away or something like that. So moving, and what I mean by a culture shock too, it was just a change in, um, it was a change in how people kind of came together too here in the queer community. That was different, and the spaces that I no longer had once I moved here. So it kind of felt pretty lonely. It felt lonely for a while, and then I kind of ventured out and met other people, but it took some time because I'm a pretty private person. But at work, I work in the service industry, and in the service industry, it's easier. It's not corporate. Everybody's kind of like family in a sense, and you go to a bar after that. So it wasn't so stuffy. So people knew that I was queer, but that kind of later changed into the profession that I did end up going into.
Where was that bar in Northside that you mentioned? Where was that spot?
Yeah. Oh, Bronze.
Mhm.
It was called Bronze. Yes.
Oh, right. That was a good time.
It was such a good time.
Oh my God.
My friends and I, we would go every Thursday.
Yes!
Every Thursday on hip hop
I
night.
wonder if I saw you. You didn't know.
Yeah, we were there. Every Thursday for hip hop night.
Yeah.
Drinking blue motherfuckers.
Oh my God. Them things was heavy.
Oh, they were
I
like,
forget now.
yeah, $3. And you know the gay bars always pour the best drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That was strong too.
woo-hoo. Yeah, Bronze was it for us. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we were there every Thursday night. We might have saw each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was Hamilton Avenue. I don't know the address.
I believe it's a church there now.
Really?
I believe it's a
Yeah, it was on the main. It was on the main strip.
Yeah.
Hamilton Avenue. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time.
It was.
Very nice. Actually, Good Judy's, what was formerly Mixwell's, right there on Hamilton Avenue,
Mhm.
has the old mirrors from Bronze.
Really?
I knew I recognized those mirrors.
Those mirrors that are behind the stage.
Wow.
I knew I recognized those mirrors. I knew it. Yeah, because we would always dance in the mirrors, like looking at each other. Yeah. It's not a good bar unless you have mirrors.
That's true.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so when I first moved to Cincinnati as a college student, well, let me start back. So when I first moved to Cincinnati, fresh out of high school, and unfortunately in high school I was actually outed, and so I lost a lot of friends my last 2 years of high school due to being outed and not, having that support. When I moved to Cincinnati for college, I decided I was going to take the story into my own hands. And essentially, I didn't want anyone else outing me. I wanted to own my own story. And so I just would tell people all the time that I was a lesbian up front. Like, it would literally be like, hey, I'm Latoya, I like girls, just so you know. And I just wanted to own my own voice and not let someone take that away from me again. So I just made myself super queer all freshman year. You can ask anybody who knew me. I was wearing rainbows and girl belts and it was so super baby queer. That was me. So, but I didn't want anyone to ever take that away from me. And so yeah, at school, on campus, I was like, you knew exactly who and what I was. And I wanted to make sure that I provided that story of myself.
As far as me, I came out when I was 17, which is early 2000. So by the time I came to Cincinnati, I was already out. There was no questioning. However, I didn't divulge the information just because I was in a new place and I am just very observant of my surroundings. So I was out, but I wasn't like, hey, I'm out, I'm gay. People kind of already knew with me, I felt like, just by how I dressed and how I carried myself. So it wasn't like, I don't know. So yeah, I was already out. Other than Bronze, only other place I can think of is the Dock.
The Dock, yeah.
The Dock was the other place, but of course it's torn down now. It's in ashes. But yeah, that's the only place I can think of.
Yeah, the Dock was definitely another spot.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really go to the Dock as much as Bronze.
Mm-hmm.
We would take a road trip sometimes to Dayton and go to, gosh, what is that place called? Mass, maybe? I think it was called Mass. It had like 3 levels. You never went?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, 3 levels. I mean, this was like a 45-minute road trip, which, not a good idea after having a couple of blue motherfuckers. But yeah, that place was like, I think it was like 3 levels, and it had a fog machine up on top, and I'll never forget being in that days of fog and sweat and twerking, like that was a good time. But yeah, that wasn't dating. But since I was on campus, I mostly stayed on campus unless it was a special event or bronze. And with campus, there were places for queer people to hang out, and the Student Life Center, the LGBT Center, the African American Center, and then I was also part of groups and organizations that had queer people in it as well. And so yeah, mostly campus for me, or bronze.
Going back to kind of what I said before, moving to Cincinnati was a culture shock because I felt like the gay community was not one. And what I mean by that, I think you had that in multiple cities, right? You still have the segregation between blacks and whites. However, in Cincinnati, I noticed there was a segregation between the black gay men and the black gay women, which I found very interesting. It was almost kind of like, I don't know, like feuding a little bit. I remember I had a situation, I was coming out of a bar, and it was some derogatory statement made towards me, and I was so confused about that because in Detroit, gay black men still treat you, they still see you as a woman. So they still hold your door for you, they're still pleasant and polite, there's no competition. So I was very taken aback by that, and I noticed that it was on a bigger scale, excuse me, and it still continues to happen. And I'm trying to figure out the story to that and why that is. But yes, Cincinnati is segregated, not just amongst the black and white community, but within the black gay community as well. Right. My mom, my stepfather, cousins had friends, and they were a couple. It was two gay women and a couple. They were in a relationship together, and they were like corporate America, like early 50s black women, and so I got to hang around them a little bit. So I was kind of like a little sister to them. They did take me out sometimes, but they still were like, they were settled. They weren't really going out. So I kind of had some experience in that space. They would always tell me, certain things like, of course, like be safe sexually and stuff like that. Things I couldn't really talk to my mom about because my mom, she's a baby boomer, right? We did not grow up knowing any gay people. So I was pretty much the first gay person she ever knew. So she didn't know what to do with that. So it was helpful to have these older gay women to know them and having my space, and I trusted them. So that's the experience I've had, like with older gay people, and they were able to tell me some things that I didn't know, but that's as far as it went. I really didn't know too many older gay people for the fact that matter.
Yeah. So you were the first person your mom knew that she knew was gay.
Exactly.
She definitely met other gay people, she just didn't know.
Yeah. She probably was like, okay.
That's just, they're just best friends.
Right.
They're just best friends. Yeah, similar story for me. I did not have queer people that I knew of growing up in my family either. However, kind of what I mentioned earlier, when I started going to work in corporate level workplaces during school, I was doing the co-op at UC, I would meet other queer people who were older than myself, and they were quick to take me underneath their wing. I guess it's something that you can just kind of see in someone. Wait a minute here. Let me help you, baby. And so these older gay queer women actually would invite me out to lunch and would tell me that, we got to keep our lifestyle kind of secret and under wraps, why in the corporate level, and, it's not really accepted here. So make sure you, tighten up, whatever, things that may expose you or out you. And so I remember that lesson really early, which, I know that was their truths, but it also kind of hurt me being so young to the workplace, where I did listen to that for years, and it was years. I think even just recently, after I left Cincinnati, I started coming out. I've been out at work outside of Cincinnati, but within Cincinnati, the whole time I lived here, I was in the closet at work. But yeah, so those older ladies are the ones who really helped me. Well, I learned a lot from them, but yeah, not so much, not a lot of. Yeah, I don't think I had any family members who were queer. But interestingly, now a lot of my younger cousins and younger family members are coming out, and it's kind of like I'm the old auntie, the old gay auntie now. So, and I'm only in my 30s, so like I'm kind of the one who opened it up for my younger family members to start expressing themselves. So that's been really cool to see.
Through a mutual friend. Toya was, what was the title? Was it still bridesmaid?
I think I was bromate.
Okay.
The bromate.
Okay.
I was bridesmaid, I guess, in society's terms,
right.
But bromates, we'll call it that.
Okay, bromate. So we had a mutual friend. Our mutual friend ended up getting married. Our mutual friends were getting married. And soon after that, Toya moved to Cincinnati. And then we just kind of start hanging out, hanging out. And some of our talks would involve man, it is nothing really to do here that, of course we like the other things like hiking and, but as far as going out to the bar and seeing, other queer Black people, that was limited or non-existent. So we were just talking about it. One day we were like, why don't we just do something about it? Why don't we just start having events and whatnot? And, we thought about a name, and we said, we want this name to mean something. So we're looking up names, and Josephine Baker. Oh, cool. What would be a cool name? What's her nickname? Mm-hmm. She has several names. And then Black Pearl, I was like, ooh, the pearl. Black Pearl? Oh, yeah. A lot of symbolism in that, yeah. Right? Perfect. So, yeah, that's how we met and this thing started.
What year was that, roughly?
So it would be the second time I moved back to Cincinnati. So probably 2018, 2019. Yeah, 2018, 2019. Yeah.
It was before COVID, for sure.
Right before, yeah. Mm-hmm. I was here for a year, less than a year, and then the outbreak. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we co-founded the Black Pearl Experience in 2020.
So the Black Pearl Experience has had 20 events, and still counting. So that's within 2.5 years, and yeah, we have some great things coming up, and we just released something yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and so the Black Pearl Experience, we like to specialize and go into different venues all around Cincinnati. Part of the experience is to get people out of their neighborhoods or their pockets or friend groups and really explore the city and take up space in a lot of buildings and businesses that you don't usually see Black queer women hanging out at. So part of our experience is to really, show we're here, we're queer, we belong, we have the means to do so, and and it really is just a unapologetic celebration of joy and music and art. And so that's really part of the experience too.
So we've had events at several Black Pearl experiences at a lot of lost family establishments, which are like Summer House, Somerset, Alice. We've had Homemakers Bar.
We've also worked with the Guerrilla Cinema. Guerrilla Cinema
Yes,
Group,
yes.
which is part of big supporters of ours too. So Tokyo Kitty, and La Frenda, yep. We've been in different private venues as well. Our next event in April 2023 will also be in a private venue space. And we're trying a lot of different things. So our next event will have a comedian, for instance. We never had that before. We've done a camping trip where we actually went out and took a lot of different people who've never been camping before. And we were all just out in the woods and teaching others how to camp and pitch a tent and make a fire. And that was a really awesome event too. So looking forward to things like that some more in the future.
The community, the gay community, has broadened a little bit, and what I mean by that is and I'm going back to bars and whatnot, I've noticed some spaces are more welcoming to queer people. Like now at a bar you'll see one space I've seen a queer MC and a queer DJ. You couldn't see that in a I hate to say, but a heterosexual norm or a club where not many queer people go, but you have people that highlight the night or that are entertainment for the night to be queer. So that's different, and I think, sometimes I think we're all inspiring one another, if we know it or not. If we see each other out, we're doing something different or something that we may not necessarily have thought of, or just see each other. Just seeing someone like you can inspire you. It doesn't matter what it is. So I think not just the Black Pearl, we just didn't do the Black Pearl experience just to have events and to cater to the community, but to also help inspire the next generation after us.
There's a story that I had about growing up, or not growing up, but like trying to figure out my identity. Is that something that's coming up?
Sure. Yeah. If you want to.
I did want to tell the story because it made me think of that. So back when I was at the University of Cincinnati, a group of my friends and myself, we were trying to figure out our identity. And we knew that we liked to dress a little bit more masculine, but we didn't know what masculine was yet. And we knew we weren't really girly, so that didn't really fit. And we would use this word called manny, which is terrible, right? So we would call each other mannies, which just meant like mannish, but not really. And we just didn't know how to really identify who we were. And now when I go out, so back then when I would go out, it was just like lesbian, you were either really feminine or really, really masculine. One of the two. Or, gay men had their own situation. But as far as lesbians and women, yeah, you were either very, very, we would call them studs in the Black community. So you were either a stud or a femme who wore high heels and makeup. And so we weren't either of those. So we just had no idea what that middle was. And really exploring and trying to figure out that middle part was super difficult back in 2005. But now there's so many different labels and so many different identities, and you have those labels such as queer or non-binary or so many different tomboy even or just boy, BOI. And it's really beautiful to have that now, where before we were just so confused and we just had no idea who we were and really had each other just kind of to lean on. And so it's so beautiful that that exists now today. So I remember Cincinnati Pride. So freshman year of college, Cincinnati Pride in 2005 was in Northside. And it was at the park there off of Hamilton Avenue. The parade started and went down the street on Hamilton Avenue. And it was like, to me, the most liberating, freeing, kind of hippie-ish, really. Like, I loved it. I loved it. I wore all my rainbows that I've been waiting for all year to wear, all at once, right? A whole sleeve of rainbow bands, just in case you didn't know. And my friends and I, yeah, we loved Pride. It was really like a community. Yeah, it was fantastic. And I think after moving away and coming back to Cincinnati, now Pride is back. Now Pride is downtown. I believe it's on the banks now, and it has been a shift. Northside's aura and community of it feels a little gone from it, but I think it's still important to have Pride, no matter what.
So I would never really be able to go to Cincinnati Pride because since I was in the earth service industry, your biggest money making was weekend. So I worked every weekend, and there was no way at the time, because if you didn't go, you didn't make money. So I didn't really go to Cincinnati Pride, which is ironic, right? I didn't go till like later, probably like 2012. But I never was really like the big Pride going person. I don't know. I did it a lot in Detroit, and I think I did it so much that I might have overdone it. Because I would spend the whole day, because we had a gay park. So we go to the gay park, and then we do our thing there, drink and whatever, right? And then you go to the club. So I think I kind of like pride myself out by the time I came to Cincinnati anyway. So I kind of miss that experience in Cincinnati a little bit.
So for the Cincinnati Pride Parade, I was there as a spectator. Definitely there as a young queer person, really trying to find community and see other people like me. My first Pride Parade was Cincinnati. So being from Columbus, I only lived in Columbus during my high school years, so I never really went to Pride there. And again, I wasn't really out until I was outed in high school. Didn't feel comfortable going to the Pride in Columbus, so Cincinnati was my first Pride Parade. It was my first time seeing anything like that. And I didn't miss it the whole time I was at UC. It was one of those things that we looked forward to. It's on our calendar. It was happening. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Do you guys as Black Pearl have any plans to be present in the coming Pride Parade? Or is that a thing you guys are interested in?
Maybe like in the future. Yeah, in the future, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, maybe in the future. Not this Pride.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I was in school at that time, and I was planning to get married. So I was excited, first of all, that it happened because I had been with my partner at that time for 7 years, 6 years. So we were ecstatic that we were going to be able to get married, you know? And so I remember it feeling overjoyed. I remember thinking that I can do the same thing that a heterosexual couple can do, which is go to the courtroom and get married to the person I love. So that was, it was an exciting time for me. like I said, however, I was still in school too. So it was like a lot going on during that time. I think it was something else that went on too. I can't quite remember, but it was an exciting time because that following year we got married in 2000.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you were gonna get married no matter what before that?
Yeah.
It's like, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, between those years I was in DC, so we did a lot in DC for all that, but not pertaining to the documentary. But it was cool, like when it passed, we were at the Capitol and we were like taking pictures on the like all the monuments and stuff. And we were just like, we here in DC. And my wife works at Planned Parenthood, so I do Planned Parenthood things all the time. Constantly working for Planned Parenthood as well. And then we did the parade in DC. We were in the DC parade every year for Planned Parenthood too, which is the coolest float to be on, by the way, because you are a celebrity.
Really?
Like, people love Planned Parenthood so much. Like, we get the biggest screams, the biggest, like, everyone's just like, oh my God, I love you. Like, here's some condoms. Like, it's like the best time. Like, highly recommend being in the parade for Planned Parenthood. Yes, Cincinnati's pride has changed quite a bit since my years of 2005, 2009, 2010. From being in Northside, which if you've ever been to Northside, you know exactly what I mean. It's it's a community full of people who love their community. I mean, it's so inclusive. There's things that obviously every neighborhood could work on, but Pride in Northside was really liberating and free. I think I remember people being topless. I might have remembered that. Maybe that is part of my fantasies, but I kind of remember toplessness and body art and just really a lot of that free spirit. Not a lot of corporations, mostly community-driven organizations in the Pride Parade. Now, flash forward, and we see this across the entire country. Pride everywhere has become the thing, right? In June, everyone's wearing their rainbow logos, so the companies will update logos to rainbows and get excited about all the queers that are going to be rushing to their brands and looking for coupons from the Pride Parade, right? So definitely a big change. There's cons and pros to that. It is good to see big corporations accept and really say like, hey, we see you. We're an ally. But on the flip side, really want to make sure that we don't forget the grassroots communities who were here first, who've always been an ally, who really do care about the community and help out more than beyond in June. There's also the element of representation. So Pride Parade is important because you get a younger community sometimes that like before, like for me before, that you've never seen anything like it. So it's really good to see the representation in Pride Parades. But ultimately, there has been a big shift, pros and cons to the shift. I do think it's still important that Pride happens and that there is a parade. I just want to make sure, or try to make sure that we're not forgetting the grassroots organizations that have been there before us. So,
as far as Pride, I think, like Toya said, there's pros and cons. I think corporate America is paying more attention to what people may gravitate to that's in that community. I think it's great. I think it's great to see. I think you just have to take bits and pieces from it that resonate with you. Like with anything, people, organizations are gonna like see something that works for them and grab a hold to it. And I think again, what Toya said, as long as we know and realize like where it started and where it came from and who fought for this to happen, and don't lose sight of that, you know, and let all these other things wash it up, you know. But yeah, like I said, Detroit, I used to go to Pride all the time. However, I did notice, I guess when I came to Cincinnati, um, just from going to like Black Gay Pride, just coming to Cincinnati and not seeing the Black Gay Pride kind of took me aback a little bit. And not only did I feel already unseen as a Black queer woman, but coming to a space that not only doesn't see me, but doesn't see the color of my skin. So I didn't really feel like I wanted to celebrate Cincinnati Black Pride. It wasn't like on top of my radar, on top of me working my job on the weekends in a restaurant. So it was just kind of like, okay, it's Pride, I'll find a party to go to. But as far as like marching and stuff like that, it didn't resonate with me because I already had an exposure to Black queerness that, I don't know, just made me feel really good about the space that I was in.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's a really great point. So there is Pride, and then there's Black Pride, and as you're mentioning, Pride, as Black queer people, we know is not truly for us. Unfortunately, like we'll go to the events, we can go to the parties, and rarely you see people that look like us at the parties. Black Gay Pride, on the other hand, obviously for us, by us, and that is a big difference, and that's something that that's something that resonates more so with our community as Black queer women.
Life of queer people, in order for life to improve for queer people, I think is first and foremost, I feel like life is forever a journey and you're always supposed to be improving. There's no point where you can say, I'm done, we're good, this is it, because of evolution. So with time, with things evolve, and we have to evolve with time. So my hope is that as we are having these events and we are building up our community, that that we help the younger generation with that. I think they're kind of already, as we talked about, are comfortable with who they are, but kind of just guide them and just show them, lead them whatever way they need help in. Whether that is marching, whether that is being in corporate America and being on the diversity team, so the corporate America can understand the importance of the queer community, of the gay community, and not just about the aspect of making money from it. Anywhere you think you can improve something, I would suggest whoever is watching this that you do it. Even if it impacts one person, that one person can impact one other person, and that person can impact one other person. And that's, it'll be a generation of people. So I think continue to be who you are, continue to educate yourself and to educate others about just being true to who they are, and that's how we can, improve the community and the evolution of the LGBTQ community.
So I think the future of Cincinnati and just Pride and LGBTQ plus in general is more diversity, which is funny because we are a diverse community. However, there's a lot of white gay men running things, and I want to see more diversity in charge. I want to see more people on boards and in the organization at the top levels. You know, the HRC, for instance, just hired their first Black woman as the president, Kelly Robinson, and it's 2023. That organization's been around for a while, and I just want to see more of that, more diversity, more women, more trans, more non-binary, just more other than Black. Oh God, more. I just want to see more. I just want to see more diversity, more trans people, more non-binary. Oh man, I just want to see more. I'm trying.
If you are in Cincinnati, whoever's listening to this, looking at this, shout out to Cincinnati. If you're ever in Cincinnati and you're looking for an LGBTQ experience, we are specifically catering to Black and Indigenous people of color. If you're in Cincinnati, come on down to the Black Pearl Experience.
Yeah, check
look
us
us up. We're on
Instagram at Black Pearl Experience. Also our website, blackpearlexperience.com. Facebook, the Black Pearl Experience.
And it keeps on going. Friends. But yeah, thank you. We hope to see you guys. Thank you for watching us. And thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
Really appreciate it.